Tier Time with Millie. What's up, nerds? So today we'll be doing something a tad different. No hero guides, no gameplay, no coaching, no Eudora rants. Today is tier list day. Something I've come to realize that a lot of players out there don't necessarily understand the power levels of heroes in comparison to the rest of the pack. And with the recent nerf to Eudora and changes and removal of certain minions, I feel the game is in a much more balanced state right now. Quick disclaimer, if you haven't watched any of my other videos, I provide in-depth guides on heroes and discuss general tips and strategies to help you improve your game inside the Battlegrounds. And if you watch all my content and you do not see improvements in your rank, then you probably just suck. Sorry. Alright, let's Michael Phelps this bitch and dive right in. First, let's take a look at the tiers. I think it'll help to define how I look at them before we get to the heroes themselves. S, A, B, C, D, and E. S is you should top 4 with these heroes the vast majority of the time you're offered them, even with poor starts. Yes, there are always bad games where you low roll like crazy, but removing those games that are few and far between, if you aren't consistently top 4ing with them, you're playing them wrong. Plain and simple. A tier is heroes that you should be top 4ing with the majority of the time, but aren't quite as consistent as the S tier heroes. B tier are heroes that are strong but lack the ability to recover from bad starts, and or don't have the ability to generate consistently strong games like the heroes in A tier or S tier. C tier heroes are still pretty strong, but ones that aren't consistent, or are consistent and not that strong. I'll explain more when we get to them because I think there are a lot of interesting heroes in this grouping. D tier heroes are ones where you'll more likely be fighting for top 4 rather than a first place, and to get first place requires some high rolling, and E tier heroes are avoid at all cost. To win, you need to high roll. Hell, to even get top 4 you need to high roll. So let's take a look at the S tier heroes. This tier used to be owned solely by one hero, the Captain Eudora. But now that she's been nerfed, 2 heroes share this throne, Maiev and Lich King. Maiev, in my opinion, is the stronger of the two. I've done a few videos on her, and her ability to generate extra gold economy and invest in future turns makes her incredibly strong, but also incredibly consistent. And then basically in lockstep with Maiev is Lich King. His hero power cost reduction put him into the demigod status of heroes. Not quite true god status like Zeus, or should I say Hades, like when the Captain Twins of Hook Tuscan Eudora and Millhouse were left unnerfed to sexually assault the rest of the other heroes. With his hero power now at 0 cost, it means you basically just don't lose early fights. Plus, unlike other heroes where you don't get consistent value from their hero power or it falls off late game, that's not the case with Lich King. You will get value from his hero power every turn. And with the changes aka buffs to beasts, and with beasts having a lot of what? Death rattles, that means Lich King can take advantage of one of the strongest tribes in the game at the moment. So Maiev and Lich King, if you aren't seeing consistent high place finishes with them, then you are misplaying. What's my advice to prove with them? Easy. Get good, noob. Okay, on to A tier. I'm going to throw them all up at first and then we'll talk through each one. Nozdormu, Rafaam, Daryl, and Kael'thas. In that order, in my opinion. Why Nozdormu and Rafaam over Daryl and Kael'thas? Because Nozdormu and Rafaam generate extra gold economy with their hero power. The other two do not. But the other two are close behind in relative power. So personally, I think Nozdormu is close to S tier, but not quite there. The dragon is super consistent. You get free rolls, and with those free rolls, it greatly reduces the chances you are offered crap shops, meaning it greatly reduces the chances you low roll. Nozdormu is the king of consistency, which is contrary to me in my content upload schedule. Rafaam, similar to Nozdormu, generates extra gold economy with his hero power, which gives you the ability to have more consistent games, as well as high roll like crazy in certain cases. And then Daryl and Kael'thas are also similar. Kael'thas is an early game and mid game monster. His hero power makes for really strong turns early game, which helps you rarely fall behind, and mid game gives you extra strength that can help you gain an advantage in your board state and power, which can allow you to power level and attempt to snowball the lobby. Daryl isn't as consistent early game, so why is he ahead of Kael'thas? Because he is a mid game beast Assuming you don't have a crazy low roll game with him, you should be a lock for a top 4 spot. You have the ability to create huge minions in the mid game that carry you to top 4. He's one of those heroes that has a super high floor, but tends to have a lower ceiling since his hero power almost disincentivizes you from leveling and finding those super strong tier 5 and tier 6 minions that either let you scale exponentially compared to the rest of the lobby, or are the missing piece to your build puzzle. So again, A tier heroes are those that you should be top 4ing with consistently, but aren't immune to low roll games like the S tier heroes. And now onto the B tier. This tier starts with Yogg. He's really strong early game, but also one that can high roll if you get some lucky grabs with your hero power. Edwin comes next. Battlegrounds is essentially a game about stats. If you have more stats on your board, you generally win the fight. So with Edwin, the ability to buff up your carry units means you generally can create stronger board states in your opponents, and thus win more fights and have higher placements. And the same is true for Draxus. He's another one of those heroes like Daryl that have a really high floor but a low ceiling. Honestly, pretty boring hero to play, but really consistent. It's rare I place first with him, but pretty common I get top 4. And then next is Millhouse. I think his average placement stats are lower than his true strength. And that's due to the fact that he's a rather difficult hero to play. Making mistakes with Millhouse is incredibly costly. But if played effectively, he's really strong. I'm sure this is an outlier in comparison to where others would place him, but if you reduce the mistakes while playing him, then his ability to pick up minions at the reduced cost of 2 gold gives you the ability to buy minions at a much higher rate than other heroes, allowing you to buy more buff cards, battlecry minions like Deck Swabby that allow you to power level, or pick up pairs to look for big power spike turns. I really do love me some Millhouse. Then after that, Skycap and Craig. He can generate one Super Saiyan-like turn. I typically wait to hero power until I get to 9 gold, where I level to Tavern 4, hero power, and then level to Tavern 5 immediately. This allows you to power level and hunt for win condition minions like Baron or Bran. And then Reno Jackson. The change he received where his hero power now costs 0 gold was a big buff. Look for really strong golden minion targets that will win you the lobby, like a Baron or a Bran, or ones that can carry you through the mid game like a Golden Juggler, Security Rover, even an Iron Sensei if you have a good mech buff target. And then we round it out with Sir Finley, the laziest hero design in all of Hearthstone. He's always been right around here, somewhere in the B tier, a little stronger when there's a broken hero in the game since it gives you the chance to discover that hero's hero power, but always strong since you can not only discover S tier heroes, but also since you see the first shot before you pick up your hero power. It allows you to play for a strong start early game. And that rounds out the B tier heroes. Again, these are strong heroes, but ones that are not as consistent as S or A tier ones. You'll see a lot of first and second place finishes with them, but they aren't immune to top 8 finishes. And here is where the waters become a bit muddier, C tier. We start things off with Deathwing. I personally do not like this hero. He's probably a lot more consistent now with the changes of Rat Pack from tier 2 to tier 3, but one that I still avoid if I'm offered another tier that is close in relative strength to him. Beasts are a strong tribe right now though, so in all honesty he's probably a B tier hero, but I just like him so I'm throwing him down in the C tier class. And the next two will probably be a surprise for some, Toki and Patches. I think both of them are stronger than people give them credit for. I think Toki has a very simple recipe for success. Check out my past video on her where I lay it out step by step. And Patches is pretty strong. I'm always a little bit confused on why his average placement stats are so low. Maybe people don't know how to play them, maybe they don't know how to play pirates in general, but having a tier that can generate gold economy should mean that Patches is pretty strong. He's limited to one tribe and can be victimized by a slow start, but overall I think people misplay him and end up bottom 4 more than they should. And then Alexstrasza. The Dragon Queen incentivizes you to power level, which a lot of the time makes you play aggressive and forces you into a spot where you take risk. She's a high risk, high reward type of hero. A lot of times you'll be down to 20 health, level to 5 and get some good discovers and go on to win the lobby. Others you don't and you take an early exit. And then Mr. Bigglesworth, stay alive long enough until players begin to start to die, and you will see some good finishes with the pussy. And here's where I'm actually going to add in another tier. Let's call it C-. I feel like there's a big enough difference between these groups of heroes in this tier that they should be separated. And in here we have Pyramid, the Great Alakazam, however you say it, Flurgle, Elise, Maleficent, and Bran. These aren't necessarily in any specific order though. Although I do think Maleficent and Pyramid are the strongest in this grouping, and Bran is probably the weakest. Flurgle is another one of those heroes that's difficult to play. I think that his average placement stats are lower than they should be. I haven't played him much since the removal of Megasaur and Primal Flynn being changed to Tavern 4, but the one game I did play, he felt pretty good. Having Primal Flynn at Tavern 4 means you can now sit at that tier for a few turns to stabilize in the mid game. He's certainly much too inconsistent to be placed higher, but he also feels too strong to be placed in the bottom tiers. And Alakazam is here simply due to Ice Block. And then Elise, solid hero. She used to be stronger, but the power creep of the other heroes means she's fallen in the pecking order of strong heroes. Her hero power allows for smooth leveling turns and gives you the ability to grab strong minions to reduce the risk on those turns where you level. And Bran. I've had some decent success with him outside of Pogos, plus going Pogos truly is a viable top 4 strat with him, so I guess I'll throw him into the C- tier, but it was a close call. And that rounds out the C tier heroes. There's a lot of minions that are strong but inconsistent like Alexstrasza and the Kitty Cat, but also heroes that are really consistent but don't have that high roll ability to steamroll the lobby like Pyramid and Maleficent. And then on to D tier heroes. We are close to the dumpster, but not quite there. And again, I'm going to throw these heroes into 2 groups. Lich Bitch, Shudder, Ysera, and George. I do consider them a bit better from the rest of the pack. Lich B could even be a C tier hero, I'm on the fence about that. Then the other 3, Shudder, Ysera, and George. I can actually get first place finishes with these heroes. If you low roll though, like have a bad start or fizzle out in the mid game, you're probably just done. There is no catch-up mechanic. There is a little bit with Shudder and Ysera, since Shudder can pick up things like Battle Master and make it huge with his hero power, and Ysera as a pair king can have turns where you find multiple triples to put you back in the game. But most of the time, if you have a slow start, it's too difficult to recover in your top 8. And then onto our D- heroes. How's the view from the bottom, Eudora? Yup, the Nerf dumpstered her. Made her into the new Hook Tusk. So these are heroes that I'm voiding unless I'm in a meme kind of mood. I do think some of the ones here are just flat out misplayed a lot of the times, and others are situational. For example, don't pick AFK if there aren't dragons. Bronze Wardens on turn 5 are crazy strong, and if you compare that with a Hangry, then you should scale and be able to muscle your way to strong finishes. And Mukla, I think people just misplay him. Play him like Edwin. Don't start hero powering until you find a carry unit. And then at that point you should be able to buff it up to carry you through the mid game. And my man Illidan. Man, I love me some Illidan. He's just not very good though. And then I put Patchwork here. The extra health allows him to survive an extra loss a lot of the time, which gives you the ability to sneak into top 4 frequently. But I just don't like him. And then the true dumpsters. The E tier heroes, Arana, Sindragosa, Bartendatron, Wagtoggle, Nefarian, and Galakrond. To win with these boys, you need to high roll. It's as simple as that. These are the avoid at all cost heroes. I really think all of these outside of Arana need to be removed from the game. Older heroes like Sindragosa, Bartendatron, and Nefarian are victims of power creep. They were all once viable heroes, and Nefarian was actually pretty strong when mechs were king. But now they are just bad, avoid at all cost heroes. And again, I don't have these in any specific order, just know that they all suck. And that wraps it up. S tier down to E tier. Like I said at the start of this video, I do think the game is in a much more balanced state with this most recent patch. You don't have completely broken heroes, and some of the unbalances within the tribes themselves have been fixed. So enjoy the game while you can. Blizzard will introduce new heroes, minions, and possibly tribes in the near future, and when that happens, I'm almost certain things will be way too overpowered and require nerfs and balances. So get in some well-balanced gameplay while it's still available. And final disclaimer, this is my personal view on the tiers of heroes, and probably greatly differ from what you'll see from not only other players, but also the stats themselves. And I think more importantly the stats, since a lot of the times people just flat out don't know how to play certain heroes, which is one of the reasons why I think Maiev is stronger than Lich King, simply due to the fact that she's a bit more difficult to play, and I can guarantee more mistakes happen on her than Lich King. Therefore, if played correctly, she should be the stronger hero. So swoop up those S and A tier heroes and pick any others outside of those E tier dumpsters. If you're looking for more information on specific heroes, check out my past videos. I've put out guides on a lot of them. You'll be able to get more insight into why I feel like Milhouse, Toki, and Patchers are stronger than their average placement stats would have you believe, and get some tips on how to most effectively play heroes like Maiev and Mukla. So thanks so much for watching. Catch you on the next one. Godspeed, nerds.